I think every child is an artist, and
we were no different. And, you know, we would be sitting, our mother has a picture of us at the kitchen table working on some watercolors. And,
each one in front of each one of us, but I'm painting on his.
And I'm painting like this.
So,
and we're as happy as can be like
yeah,
that.
Yeah.
It's just natural for us. I think it's, art is about communicating with people. And there's all these stories about twin languages. And I think if we have a twin language, it's art, that we're how we communicate with other people, and it's something that we have together, and then we put it out there.
And again, it just continued in the same way that you see us talking on top of each other and right alongside. There's never a competition. That we're not that type of. We don't have that kind of relationship. It's more just explore, and we could do this. And I was thinking we could do this, and it's like, okay, let's try that.
And it's just been the absolute focus of our lives. I don't think there was any other choice in the matter except to be artists. And
it just continued through art school.
Yeah,
we went to school in a single portfolio.
Yeah. We took separate classes through those years to try and develop our own things, but we always had one project that we'd be working on together, and those works were always the best. They were the most informed, the most debated. Everybody's got their own internal debate system where you're trying to get through the work, trying to figure out what it is you're expressing or wanting to go after, and is this successful? Where is it going? We have that plus an externalized debate, and it just makes better work for us. Yeah, all of our work. You see pieces being put together to create it.
With us as artists working together, we just naturally lean that towards that perspective, and
then it just comes out naturally through the work. And it's these two humans coming together, creating something else between them. This artist that we are together.
Yeah, we're together. We're a single artist in a sense. Yet we're two distinct individuals, so we're very conscious of parts.
Yeah, but I think that's true with everything in the world. Everything is interconnected with everything else.
But more than interconnected, it's interdependent.
Yes, exactly. Nothing's existing on its own. Nothing.
If it wasn't there, then something else would take its place, or something wouldn't happen. It's not. Things don't happen on their own. Well, we've had this personal philosophy of how things grow, and again, it's just an extension of what we were just talking about. This interdependence of everything, whether it's moments of time of interaction, or it's circumstances of politics or economics, or the mood of a person or a country.
But then, and as well as this exists in time, because everything's interdependent, that logically means there's really no actual beginning of something on its own. It comes out of something else, or out of many things. Big Bamboo was a realization that we could have this philosophy could actually be demonstrated as a sculpture. We wanted to find this expression that was away from the control and more about the way life actually works, and has always worked.
And develop over time, the way everything grows.
It's a random interdependence, and that's the invisible architecture of life that's out there. Big Bamboo is that made visible, and we realized that we could make a artwork that can physically support you. It can take you up. It can literally change your perspective.
And we talked about the possibility of doing it on a small scale, but that's not what life is. You had to inhabit it and walk through it, climb through it, and have it completely envelop you.
Yeah. The bamboo was not at the beginning of the idea. The beginning of the idea was simply a random interdependent structure that would carry you and support you. When we made this, we had no idea that this piece would be such an optimistic artwork. To us, it really started as a very
Pure philosophy,
yeah,
quite
yeah.
dry,
Yeah.
and it's been anything but that. Well, we had the idea a couple years before we found a space to try it. We needed a very large studio to build it in. We found a place with
Must be 15-meter
ceilings, the length of a football field. Because the initial idea was to make a piece that never ends.
It's constantly active. All art is active. All art is changing its meanings over time. It changes its meaning the second someone else is looking at it besides the artist, and certainly when it leaves the studio. So sometimes those artworks experience physical change, and that's just part of it. But with this piece, we wanted to build a wave that was continually generating itself.
Well, the piece in our studio got some coverage somewhere, and the Metropolitan asked us to do it on the roof of the Met. That piece, it's a large rooftop, but it's only not even a third the size of our studio. It's not a piece that we could just have go back and forth. So we decided to continue with the seascape, but build a wave that was constantly sloshing around, for instance, on the roof.
In a sculptural way, built out of bamboo. The idea was to not just create it and then walk away from it and let people enjoy it. The idea was to actually build it the entire time that the exhibition was open, 6 months. That was an amazing experience, working with people and seeing people interact with our art as we're creating it. It was really exciting.
We grew up near the ocean on the east coast of America, and we just, from as long as I can remember, just thought about the sheer scale of the oceans and
the fact that it's so old and yet so new. It's always waves
active,
coming in there, and
it never stops.
It's always fresh, and that has just been a theme for our photography as well as the bamboo.
Yeah, the piece in Japan,
we realized that we could actually tie our pathways right to the living bamboo that's coming out of the ground, and so that's what we did. It was really amazing.
And of course, we're on this tiny island, fishing boats all around, and the way bamboo moves in the breeze, it kind of looks like the surface
when you're looking at the
ocean.
forest from a distance, you're seeing waves of bamboo, that canopy. So we built a fishing boat and
on the surface of the bamboo sea.
Yeah.
And that was probably our favorite piece. But eventually, after 3 typhoons, I think, it sank to the bottom. It was a good ending.
Yeah. So with this piece, what we talked about earlier, that the bamboo pieces have an innate joy about them that's carried into the experience. Something that we really love, and decided that we would make the focus of this piece. We decided to create a labyrinth, a vertical labyrinth, that you'd be getting lost and you'd be meeting the Minotaur that's in the Greek myth. But instead of needing to kill that Minotaur, this is something that you make friends with. This wildness is a great thing for you and something you want to join up with. This piece for us became the geometry of innocence, and helping to bring that sense to people. One of the inspirations on this was a poster that our sister had when we were growing up, back in the 60s, our sister had a poster of M.C. Escher's Relativity, where there's several different stairways going in impossible directions, and people are walking upside down, sideways on the treads or the risers. And that was, again, to just free your mind. And, Doug and I used to sneak into her room just to stare at this poster, and it just can take you away.
The cords that we use to tie things together are very brightly colored. What they are manufactured for is rock climbing, accessory cord. And we want the bright color to attract your attention to
the interconnections.
Yes, yeah, that's where
the strength happens.
Yeah.
You have all these interdependent poles, but they're not going to really be. You're not going to create a support structure out of randomness without interconnections. So we're drawing your attention to those knots. And the climbers can often get very fanciful with those knots, and it's just evidence of a moment, a decision made, and then we leave the cords dangling. I think it expresses roots and things like that.
It's just the length that the cords are. Sometimes you have to tie a knot that you need almost 4 meters, and other times you just got a long tail, and it's, just leave it and move on to the next one.
The climbers are really part of the
artwork. What we're talking about here with all the poles, they're inert. You need some biomeme to make it connect. So they're just part of that. In this labyrinth, sometimes you're going up to go down, or I still get confused. And I saw somebody on their way up, and all of a sudden they're lower than me, and I go, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot about that. And I like that kind of not knowing where you are, because we never know where we are in life. It's not something that we're in control of. And then these platforms for hanging out, I think, is very important in life, to just have those moments of
hanging out and contemplating and wondering and just relaxing, rather than walking through something, walking through a gallery and seeing a painting and then walking to another painting and then walking out the room. We want you to experience the art and actually be with it for a while. So we give you a place to just sit down and relax and experience. I think when people make any kind of qualifications for art must do this, it's wrong. Art's made by people. People are all different, and it's made for people, and it's just about whatever it is that someone needs to get out and express to people. It's a way of communication. We're not always going to talk about politics or environmental. Sometimes you got to talk about letting your mind go, and being human is a very complex thing. And so I don't believe that art has to be about environmentalism or politics or something like that.
Yeah, I have no desire to control anyone, and I have no thoughts of artist responsibility at all. It's like, whatever.
You're responsible to the truth, and the truth is bigger than political topics or social topics. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. Art can change politics and change minds is incredible.
Yep.
But that's not the only thing it's about. I mean, the piece is all about freedom and respect for everyone. That's an underlying aspect of, if you're going to be about life, that's what it is. And I think it's expressed with Big Bamboo.